What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Goblin, and today I'm coming in with a storytime video for you guys about my best acid trip that I've ever had. And that is not what this video is titled. This video is titled Life-Changing Acid Trip, but it was life-changing. I mean, acid really does change the way you think. Not every trip, but certain trips. It just depends where it goes and how you take it. So I'm going to be talking about my best trip and the one that really changed me as a person. So hope you all enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you do. And if you have any similar experiences with acid, let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. I am not encouraging anyone to try the things I do in these drug videos. Don't ingest these drugs. Okay, I am very stupid. Okay, your boy Goblin over here, not the sharpest tool in the shed, not the biggest cock in the bunch, not the biggest cock in the bukkake. I feel like that's a better way to put it. But either way, you catch my drift. So, hope you all enjoy. Drop a like if you do, and let's dive into it. So, there is one term that I want to explain to everybody listening to this video before I get into this story. And that term is called ego death. Now, ego death, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're not familiar with psychedelics or whatever, it's essentially what it sounds like. You fucking lose your ego. You don't really, have a self-consciousness, or it's very weird to explain, very hard to explain. It's just like that kind of caring inside you, like caring what others think, and, caring about yourself and, how much swag you have, or, whatever the fuck you're going for, just kind of dies, essentially, when you do psychedelics. I've heard about ego deaths with shrooms. I've heard about ego deaths with acid. I personally have only done shrooms once. I'm more of an acid guy, so I can't really speak on shrooms, but I have experienced it with acid, and it was a permanent one, which was pretty crazy. So this was, I want to say, let's say it's about the end of July. It's basically August as of today. So, I mean, not literally August as of today, but either way, this was, I want to say, a good 5 months ago then. This was definitely in March or April. Probably March now that I think about it, because April I was starting to tone down my acid consumption a little bit. But back in March, okay, acid was the hoot for me. I was dropping twice a week. I was doing too much fucking acid, more than that, and I was tripping all the time. And on this particular day, my plug had gotten some really awesome double dose tabs. He'd gotten these 160 UG double dose tabs. He was like, oh, these things are crazy. You got to try these. And he'd gotten these before, but he said they were a different kind of crystal or some shit. So I was like, all right, fuck yeah, I'm down. Let's go for it. So I popped 4 of them, okay? But it was not all at once. I popped 2 first, and then I popped 2 later. I popped 2 first, and I waited about an hour and a half for the trip to set in. And this trip in particular wasn't terribly eventful. That's the thing, and I feel like that's what made it such a good trip for me, because I wasn't out, doing things with people. I spent a lot of the trip on myself, and really focusing on myself and shit like that. But anyways, I dropped the 2 tabs, and we were riding around in my buddy's car, and about an hour and a half in, I was tripping balls already. I was looking out the window, I was seeing little patterns, very faint patterns, slight, enhancement of colors. Everything was really nice out and colorful, and although it was kind of a rainy, kind of just dead day, it was still nice, and it was still nice to see everything, and it was around 5 p.m., so, the sun was going down. And, at nighttime, personally, I love nighttime tripping. Everyone says, oh, you got a daytime trip. Oh, you got to be outside and all that shit. No, dude, nighttime tripping is so fucking fun. I love it. So the sun was not going down, but it was already cloudy out, excuse me. So it was just kind of getting darker gradually. And we were just riding out in my friend's car, smoking blunts. We were stopping a couple places. He had to serve some people, and I was just riding with him. So it was a pretty casual thing. And then eventually we went to a friend's house where we could actually stay and smoke and chill out, because we got all our serves done. We got all our business work done for the day. We just wanted to hang out. So we were kicking it at my friend Chris's house. That's what we're going to call him. Chris is a very common character in these videos, and I was tripping balls at this point. I had these other 2 tabs still, and I hadn't experienced the ego death thing that I was talking about earlier that I'm going to get into yet. I experienced that after I dropped the other 2. So at this point, we were maybe 3 hours into my trip. I was feeling great. I was feeling incredible. Tripping balls, smoking blunts, and we were watching, I don't remember what, we were watching some NBA game. I'm pretty sure, was it an NBA game? It might have been March Madness at this time. I remember it was some important basketball game. That's all I remember. And we were all watching it, and I was the only person there tripping. And typically that can be a shitty thing because you might want someone else with you tripping so that, you can relate to them and experience the same things. That's a piece of advice right there. If you've never dropped acid and you're going to do it for the first time, not only should you have a trip sitter, but you should also have someone else there who's tripping so you can have a hoot and a holler and like relate to someone and both experience it together. I don't know. In my opinion, I like acid with other people. But anyways, so we were sitting there just smoking blunts and all kicking back, enjoying our night. A couple of my friends were drinking. I wasn't because I personally don't like drinking off acid. The only things that I like to do off acid, drug-wise or like intoxicant-wise, is either smoke or Molly. That's all. I either like to candy flip or just get really stoned while I'm tripping because weed off acid is a whole different thing. But anyways, so I decided to drop the other 2 tabs because fuck it, we weren't doing anything and I wanted to trip harder. I was originally going to save them, but I was like, you know what? Let's make this night a little more interesting. I don't want to just sit here and have a boring trip. Let's drop 2 more. Now, at this point in time, I'm pretty sure this was the most I had ever taken. I had never taken this much acid at this point in time. Now, after that, I had surpassed that, but that's a fuck ton of acid for those of you who don't know. That's the equivalent of like a tab of acid you can get anywhere from like, they're averaging around 100 UG, dosage wise. If you guys don't know what that is, that's, when you get a tab of acid, you can get anywhere between like 60 to 100 UG. It really depends on who you're buying from. But if it's anywhere below like 90 or 80, I'd smack your plug upside the head. And if he's charging you like a normal price for anything below that, I'd definitely smack him upside the head. But anyway, so I dropped the other 2 tabs, and I was still tripping, and I don't even know how much time went by, because at this point, I wasn't keeping track. I can't tell you guys how much fucking time went by, but it was like maybe 2 hours had gone by. I'd give it a rough estimate, I guess, and I was in a whole nother fucking world, dude. I swear to God, like, not literally, but mentally, I was just gone. Like, people were talking to me and I wasn't responding because I was just lost within my thoughts. Like, I was literally sitting there on this guy's couch in his garage, just completely fucking boinkered. I'm talking like hoot hollered, big honky tonkin', fucking tripping balls. And when you trip, a lot of times you just sit there when you're really lost in your mind, because you will get lost in your mind. It is like a fucking maze, a pitch black maze, I promise you. You think about the most random things. And one of the things that I was thinking about was myself and as a person and the image behind me and what other people see me as. And this is a really common thing for people who trip. A really common thing when you drop acid is you're going to evaluate yourself. You're going to sit there and think about yourself and your mistakes and things you've done. And I was really, really blessed to experience ego death, which is something that a lot of people strive to. It's kind of like viewed as the holy grail of psychedelics. Like when someone says they ingested a lot of a psychedelic, so for example, they dropped 8 fucking tabs, the equivalent of it, like I did, people are going to be like, did you have ego death? Or like, you must have had a crazy ass ego death. And it's a thing. And sometimes those things stick with you. Like personality traits change through psychedelics. Like there's research on this. So I'm sitting here and I'm just reflecting on everything. I'm just like, wow, dude, like what am I trying to do with myself? Why am I like sitting here stroking my cock all day? I should be stroking my balls all day instead. Like, why do I fuck bitches? I should fuck my grandma instead. Like, what am I doing with myself? And, I came to the realization that I don't really give a fuck what anyone cares. I don't really give a fuck about anything, quite honestly. Like, it's just kind of that really not caring about anything or anyone but, like, what is best for myself is what really came to be apparent. And that sounds selfish and douchey, but whatever. You get my point. That whole, like, I don't fucking care. If I like it, then I like it, kind of became apparent, and that stuck with me. Like I used to always make sure that I combed my hair and dressed really nice before I went out with friends. Now I don't fucking care, dude. If my friend hits me up and goes, get over here ASAP, we gotta smoke, I'm not taking all my time to wear the polo and the trews and comb my hair and gel my hair and whatever the fuck and stroke my cock and shave my balls and all that, dude. I'm going over there fucking Harry Dick Johnson, Daddy Long Legs Dick, excuse me, cock out. I don't give a fuck what I'm wearing. Where's the dope at? I got a hoodie and like I got a hoodie and a Speedo on, nothing else. That's all I'm wearing because I don't care. Where's the dope at? Come suck my hairy cock. Like, that's basically me after this trip. You know, I mean, not literally. I care. Okay, I care, and I'm not hairy. But listen, it was just an example. But either way, that was the first time that I experienced full ego death, I guess you could say. And that was like the reason that it was the best trip that I've ever had. It was just fucking insane. And it was something that actually changed me as a person, which is part of what made me really love acid and love psychedelics in general. You know, I'm like, I don't encourage people to do it, but at the same time, I'm an advocate for it. It's like, it's kind of weird, but either way, I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did, and let me know if you have any similar ego death experiences off acid in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Goblin, and today I'm coming in with a story time for you guys about tripping at the movie theater with a couple buddies of mine, so drop a like on this video if you guys do enjoy, and also, don't forget to check out my second channel in the description below if you guys want to see me play through some other games. I already kicked off my Fallout playthrough like I mentioned in yesterday's videos, and also, one thing I want to mention real quick is I got a decent little bit of hate on the Overwatch video I put up yesterday. I want to remind you guys once again that it's just my opinion. You know, I'm not fucking guaranteeing the game is shit. I don't even think the game is bad. I just think that it's overpriced for what it is, but I'm not going to go any further into that in this video because we got a story to tell. So drop a like on this video if you guys do enjoy, and let's dive into it. So, tripping at the movie theater. Now, this was, God, I want to say like 3 months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago, not too long ago, and it was me, my friend Andrew, and my other one we're gonna call Kevin. And me, Andrew, and Kevin went to the movie theater, and we had a great time. You know, Andrew hit me up earlier that day, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I just got these new needlepoint tabs in. Let's drop some. They're double dose, 100. I think they were either 180 or 190 UG. I don't remember the dosage, but definitely pretty up there. Nice little double dose tabs." And I was like, "Hell, fucking yeah, dude. Let's have a good time today." So, you know, we dropped these tabs, and we were tripping really fucking hard. I think I dropped 2 this day, and I was feeling fucking great. I was feeling incredible. Andrew, I don't know how many he dropped, and Kevin dropped 1. So, you know, we decided that we wanted to spend our time, you know, seeing a movie. We didn't really have anything else to do, and it was getting kind of late at night. So we were like, fuck it, let's go to the movie theater and just see whatever the hell is on. So, you know, of course, we snuck in because only one of us had money for a ticket, and the other 2 of us didn't really feel like, you know, trying to get money for a ticket or anything like that. We were just like, well, one of us will pay, and then go let the other 2 of us in at the exit. So, you know, me and Andrew went and waited at the exit, and Kevin went inside, and he paid for his ticket. He went inside and then came to the exit and like pretended he was about to leave for like a smoke break or something, and then just held the door open, and we just came in with him. And we decided, you know, at this point we were tripping really hard. Like, everything looked great, and the little pattern on the carpet looked fucking crazy because, you know, movie theaters always have that like really shitty like 1980s carpet. This place was no exception, and the carpet looked fucking thrilling to say the least. So I was pretty amazed by that. So, you know, we were looking at the carpet, and we were just walking around looking at what movies were on without trying to like be too obvious or like, you know, let the employees see us, because it was pretty obvious like we didn't buy a ticket. Like, if an employee asked for a ticket, we couldn't provide anything. So, you know, we tried to stay like fairly close to the exit we came in, and we didn't encounter any employees. And we were originally trying to sneak into, oh, I remember why we snuck in now. I'm pretty sure this was Deadpool release weekend, actually, and we were trying to see Deadpool, but there was a dude at the entrance of it who was, like, scanning the tickets, so there's no way we could sneak into that. So we were like, fuck it, let's go see something else. So I'm pretty sure we went and ended up seeing Dirty Grandpa 2. I believe that's what we saw. Yeah, it was Dirty Grandpa. And this movie was fucking priceless while I was tripping. Let me tell you, we were sitting in, like, one of the most front rows, like, because we didn't want to be by anybody else, because my friend brought this little herbal vaporizer in, and you could stuff it with bud and smoke it. You know, it was fucking great. So we didn't want to be by anyone else because we were probably going to smell a little bit, but it actually didn't smell too bad. I didn't really know how it worked. I just know that it eliminated a lot of the smells. I was like, bet. So, you know, me, Andrew, and Kevin, we brought that in, and we were sitting in the front row hitting that a little bit. And me and Andrew wanted to go out for a smoke break. You know, we wanted a cigarette and maybe talk a little bit, you know, smoke a blunt or something. So Kevin wanted to stay there. We asked if he wanted to stay out, or if he wanted to come out, excuse me. And Kevin was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to stay here and watch the movie. So me and Andrew went out of the movie theater and back out the back exit, you know, on the back side of the movie theater. And this was not the one we came in. We came in through the front, but we decided to just prop the door open and just have a smoke. And, you know, we were just hanging out, talking. Everything was going really good, getting ready to go back in, see the rest of Dirty Grandpa 2. Fucking stellar movie while you're intoxicated, let me tell you. If you were looking for a comedic movie to just fucking make you like bust a nut in your head while you're tripping or off whatever drug, I highly recommend the Dirty Grandpa movies, both the first one and the second. Comedy gold when you're intoxicated. Not as much when you're sober. I mean, still kind of funny when you're sober, but more so when you're intoxicated. But anyways, so me and Andrew were sitting there smoking a cigarette, and he had his little herbal vape with him, and we were passing that to each other, hitting that. And of course, someone had to come ruin our party. One of the biggest women that I've ever seen in my life. Like, this woman waddled. Like, this woman could barely walk. Like, she looked like a triple cheeseburger from Wendy's with like way too much cheese on it. Like, she just looked fucking droopy, fucking globby. Like, everything was just wrong with this woman. Like, she was just very, very large, very burly, and very unattractive. So, we already knew she was probably going to do something, because typically women of this, how do I put it, this profile, will not be very cool about many things, because they're probably angry with themselves. So, this woman, of course, smelled a little bit of what we were doing, and these kids came up, before this woman came up, because she was like watching the kids go up, and then she came up to us, these 3 little kids, I want to say they were like, the oldest one was like 8th grade, and like the other kids were like 6th graders maybe. They came up, and this kid was in like a Diamond Supply Co. like crew neck, and like a snapback. Like, I swear to God, I thought we were in 2011 for a minute. And he's talking to my friend. He's like, you guys vape? And like, my friend Andrew, he's just like, yeah. And they were like, oh, okay, that's cool. How old are you guys? And we were like, oh, we're juniors. And they were like, oh, that's cool. So you guys vape? And they asked it again. We were like, yeah, I mean, sure, yeah. And they just kind of like walked away. So you're like, what the fuck? Like, what was that? And then finally, I mean, I don't know, I guess fucking Big Jabba Lady was like their mom or some shit, because like they went over and like talked to her, and then she came over, or she started approaching us. She wasn't, really like quite able to make it all the way to us, because, she'd probably run out of stamina and just like drop dead. So she kind of waddled in our general direction and raised her voice, as loud as her, little chunky voice cords probably could. And she was like, what are you guys doing here? You can't be doing that here. And we were like, what? We're like literally just having a smoke break. At this point, we weren't even smoking any weed. We already got done with the herb. So, we were just smoking cigarettes, and he just had the door propped open so we could go back in, which is what you're supposed to do in a movie theater. Like, we're not going to lock ourselves out to smoke a cigarette, because if we actually bought tickets, we probably wouldn't still have them. So like, how would we get back in? Like, that doesn't make sense. So like, I mean, we weren't really, I mean, we snuck in, but like at this point, we weren't technically doing anything wrong. We were just smoking a cigarette, had the door propped open. This woman wasn't having that. She's like, oh, you guys are getting the smell of that stuff in here. And she was like my friend, this lady asked like what we were doing with the vape, and my friend just goes smoking, and she's like, oh yeah, I can smell it. Like, I mean, I don't know, I'm surprised she got like the smell of fucking cheeseburgers out of her nose to smell the weed, but she got real pissed off, and she like came up and like made her way towards us, and then like she was like, I'm gonna go get an employee, and like she turned around and like tried to like waddle her way to the employee. So like we had a decent amount of time, because we knew this woman wasn't moving faster than 2 miles an hour. So we just, we got out of there. We were like, fuck it, it's not worth staying. We still had a little bit of acid on us. If we got in trouble and they did anything or contacted cops, we'd be really, really fucked. So we were just like, it's not even worth it. The movie's not fucking worth it. Let's just leave. So, we shut the door, and we were out back at this point, and we realized Kevin was still in the fucking movie theater. This man was still inside watching Dirty Grandpa, probably having the most like intense trip of his life, because he's just like watching Dirty Grandpa with nobody around him, doing nothing else, probably like lost in his thoughts. So we walked around the front, and we kept calling him, and he wasn't answering his phone, so we just had to like wait it out. So we waited like another like 10-15 minutes, and finally he came out with his like arms in the air, like yelling, and he was like super hype. He was like, that was fucking awesome. And we were like, oh, how was the movie? And he was like, it was fucking hilarious. And like we had a real great time. And after that, we went and smoked a little bit more, and then everyone had to go home, and I went back home, and it was a wonderful time. So yeah, that is my story about tripping at the movie theater. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like on this story if you guys did enjoy. Don't forget to check out my second channel in the description below and subscribe to that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a fucking banger, alright? This is also going to be another short one, kind of like the last one, but don't worry, everybody, okay? It's still going to be great. Hope you guys enjoy. Drop a like if you do. Let's dive right into it. So, this happened a long time ago now, dude. I can't believe how fucking, like, quickly time has gone by. Holy shit. Like, when I tell these stories, it's so nostalgic because, like, this happened about 2 years ago by now, but it doesn't feel like 2 years ago. Holy shit. So, either way, basically, this happened way back in 2016, junior year of high school, and during this time of my life, as pretty much all of you probably know, assuming you've watched my prior videos, this was when the stories that you see today were really being churned out. This was when I was just out of control, and thankfully I'm not like that anymore, but at this point in my life, shit was bad. I was doing a lot of drugs, psychedelics in particular, and on this day, it was a nice Friday afternoon. My mom wasn't going to be home for a long time, so I had the house to myself, and I wanted to enjoy the day. It was pretty nice out. It was like April, I think, but it was one of those like really nice spring days where it's like 75 and sunny out, so it's like not hot and humid, but it's just some good shit, just some fucking good shit. So I had these really nice tabs at the time, and I only had 2 of them left, and I was intending on saving them, but this day rolled around, the weather was just so nice, I said I gotta pop at least one of them. And what I loved about these tabs was, I remember I saw the whole sheet of them before I had any of them, and they were this really, really cool, like, picture of a sun. They looked really, like, the picture was just really good quality. Like, you see some tabs and, like, when they have an image on them, sometimes the quality isn't very good, but this one really looked good. It almost looked like a real painting. It was pretty crazy. It was a really cool picture, really nice. But either way, I popped one of these tabs around like maybe 3 p.m., about an hour after I'd gotten home from school. And each of these tabs, I was told, was, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 110 UG a tab, if I remember correctly. I don't really know. I think that's what they were. I know they were over 100 for sure, but either way, I popped one of them, figuring, I don't want to trip super hard, but I just want to have a good evening, and I had no plans and didn't intend to go to Olive Garden at any point until all of a sudden it just kind of came up. I planned on just tripping alone and kind of enjoying myself, and I'm kicking it for maybe the next 30 minutes. It hasn't really hit me yet. I'm just kind of waiting, just chilling out. And all of a sudden, I get a Snapchat from a girl who we're going to call Megan. Now, Megan is someone who I believe has been in quite a few of my stories, but not any of the recent ones, if I remember correctly. So, she's kind of an OG character, so kind of like a reintroduction here. But either way, she hits me up and she's like, hey, what you doing? You want to grab some food? And Megan was someone who, she was kind of attractive. She like, I met her through like a friend of a friend, and we didn't really know each other very well, and she didn't really hang out with like anyone in my friend group, but like we just kind of conversate like on our own, even though like she didn't hang out with anyone in my group at that point, and like we'd occasionally kick it, and she was kind of hot, so it wasn't like we just kick it as friends. It was more like I really wanted to like kind of fuck her, if I'm being honest. And also I probably would have cuffed, so like I viewed this as almost like a date, but like I didn't know if she viewed it that way, so I had to tread lightly. But I was tripping balls, well, not tripping balls, but I was about to be tripping decently hard, and I didn't really think at the time that this was a bad idea. So I was like, oh yeah, where you want to get some food? And she's like, oh, I don't really care, you could pick. So for some reason, the first thing that came to my mind was Olive Garden. And I don't know why, I will admit that the unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks is pretty decent. But other than that, Olive Garden's not that great, so I'm not really sure why I picked that. But I just kind of threw out Olive Garden. She was like, all right, I'm down. So she comes and picks me up. I refuse to tell her that I'm tripping. I decided to leave that information out. I knew that she smoked, and I didn't really think she did anything harder, but I didn't really know what her opinion would be. And like I said earlier, I wasn't sure if she viewed this as like, a date or something, and I wanted to tread lightly. I didn't want to just show up tripping and be like, yeah, I'm just a fucking druggie 24/7, and like, I wanted to kind of impress her a little bit. So, I put on my best cologne, I changed into my best clothes, I got ready to go. She comes and picks me up, and, by the time she gets to my house, it's been maybe an hour and 15, hour and a half since, I popped this tab, and I'm feeling pretty great. I hadn't tripped in maybe a week or two at this point. So, my tolerance was where it needed to be for this to feel great. And, for me at least, I have 2 kinds of trips typically. I either have a very mental trip where I really just think a lot and kind of, I don't know. It's just it really alters how I process things and how I think about things, and I just like to sit down on my own and just have like a alone kind of trip, or I have very like visual and physical kind of trips where like I just see things very differently and I focus on that instead of what's in my head. I focus on what's around me. And this particular trip was a very, very, very kind of visual trip. I wasn't really thinking very much. I was just looking around and absorbing it all. The thing that made these tabs most memorable for me at least was how they had the little like sun image on the whole sheet, if you guys recall me saying that earlier, and they really did make everything brighter. It was like everything was so colorful on these tabs, so that always stuck with me. I always remembered that. This was probably in my top 3 favorite like batches of acid that I'd ever like tried in my life. This stuff was great. I loved these tabs. But either way, I'm just in her car at this point. We're cruising to Olive Garden. She's chatting with me. We're just hanging out, listening to music, casual conversation. And, the issue is I'm not really paying very much attention to the conversation. And she'd probably like me to, but I'm not. I don't care. I'm just looking out the window, tripping balls. Since I'm, kind of tripping decently hard, I wasn't really like very interested in anything she had to say. Like, it sounds so rude, but honestly, I didn't give a fuck what she had to say at that point. I just wanted to look at shit. So she's cruising. Olive Garden's maybe 10 minutes away. We finally pull up to Olive Garden. It seemed like it was a fucking year-long drive, but it wasn't. It was actually quick. And, we get in there. We get seated immediately. And, we're just kind of chilling. Waitress comes over. Waitress was like, I don't know. I'd been to that Olive Garden before, and they were usually pretty young, but that chick was like 50 at least. But either way, back on topic, she gets us our drinks, we're booling, and, she's trying to ask me what she should get, and I didn't even know what I wanted to get, because I wasn't even hungry, if I'm being completely honest. Like, in my mind, I thought I was hungry, but when I got there, I was just like, oh yeah, none of this really seems appealing at all. So I just start kind of looking around at the decor as, Megan is still talking to me about God knows what. Like, I was kind of responding. Like, I wasn't just completely deflecting her. I was responding, but not processing, if that makes sense. I was just kind of shooting out words that I thought would satisfy her at that point. So, I'm just looking around and looking at all the decorations and all the other people and all the shit going on. And, like I said earlier, it was a very visual experience, but holy fuck, don't go to a restaurant when you're tripping. Like, really, guys, don't. There's too much decor, too many distractions. No bueno. Plus, I wasn't even hungry anyways. So either way, finally we place our orders. I got the fettuccine Alfredo, and I remember it really well, because even though I wasn't too hungry, I will admit that shit still smacked, but I'll get to it later. I ordered the fettuccine Alfredo. I don't know what Megan ordered. It was some, like, shrimp pasta thing. That's all I know. It was something nifty. I'm gonna leave it at that. Some weird hybrid ass shit. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. But either way, we're kicking it for like 20 minutes, and as I'm waiting for the food to come, I really gotta rock a piss. And public restroom pissing while you're tripping is usually quite the expedition. And an Olive Garden bathroom, while I have like a pretty hot girl waiting for me outside who has no idea I'm intoxicated, makes it a lot more of an expedition. So, I excuse myself, I go to the bathroom, and let me tell you guys, when you've had that piss, that one piss, if you're a male, you know this. I don't know if it's the same for girls, how it feels, but for guys, you know this shit, alright? Like, when you've had that piss pent up all day and you finally go to the bathroom and just unleash that fucking cannon, tell me that shit doesn't feel great. A+. Now, imagine that when you're tripping balls and you're just, you got that physical feeling. You feel in tune with that piss, and it's just amazing. It amplifies it 10 times. It's like an orgasm. I damn near nutted. But either way, back on topic. Pardon me. I finished that up, sit back down, perfect timing too. I sit back down, literally maybe 2 minutes later, food comes. And, I ate like more than I expected I was gonna, because I was tripping. I honestly didn't think I was gonna eat anything. I was like, dude, I'm gonna take I was thinking to myself, I was like, dude, I'm gonna take like 2 bites and just sit here, and it's gonna be so weird. But, I managed to get the job done, and, after I sat down and took that piss, maybe it was just the piss that was distracting me. I was a little more active in conversation, trying my best. I don't think she knew I was intoxicated yet, nor did I ever tell her, but I don't really want to find out if she knew, because we kind of stopped talking shortly after this, so it gives me some bad ideas, bad thoughts that maybe she knew, like, we stopped talking pretty shortly after this, but either way, finally check comes around. This is what pissed me off the most, all right? Excuse my language, excuse me for sounding so angry there. Not pissed me off, but she insisted on paying for herself, right? I'm not one to, like, do that, right? Like, when I, like, take someone out, it's like, I don't know, it's just, like, how I was, like, raised. Like, I was taught, like, I pay for that shit, Like, if I take a girl out, I pay, So we get in, like, a decent argument over who's paying for this shit. And finally, I just throw the money down, and she finally taps out, and I pay for it. So I won. I did pay for it. And it wasn't that expensive either. It was only, like, maybe $45 before the tip. Not bad at all. But either way, after that, she gave me a ride home. I was still feeling fucking great. I didn't really want to do anything else at that point. I just kind of wanted to go home, so off I went. And let me tell you, good meal. Kind of feel bad for her because that was probably a shitty date, but nevertheless, I paid. So fuck you, suck my dick. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and also, we got another good song at the end, boys. Listen to that shit. Go follow Sam Round in the description below. It's another banger. As always, go follow him on SoundCloud. Tell him I sent you. Do that shit. Let's get it. See you guys next time. Peace.
I know these niggas really not who they pretend to be. If I take this Xan, I know that that's the enemy. I'm taking grandma's script, don't know it's got an enemy. I'm a real addict, better lock your pill cabinet. I like to chew it up, that way I can feel it fast. All my Xanax dreams feel just like a fairy tale. And every time I die, I realize that I live in hell. I guess that's why I feel at home when I be coming down 100 milligrams.